Aaron Judge is having one of those seasons. I have never seen a season of this magnitude. For a guy that is in a contract year, for a Yankee organization that offered him a 7-year, $213 million contract before the season and then decided to play with him with his arbitration before the season started. This man is having one of those years that we will never forget. If you're a Yankee fan, if you're a sports fan or a baseball fan, we might never see a season of this magnitude again. This man has a chance to win the batting title, break the home run record, the real home run record by Roger Maris without doing steroids. I'm for steroids when it comes to sports, besides combat sports. If steroids should be allowed in any sport besides boxing and mixed martial arts because you can kill somebody. Nevertheless, it was illegal, so you can't count Barry Bonds' home run record or Mark McGuire's or Sammy Sosa's. This is the guy that's done it legitimately. But having a chance to have a triple crown, maybe going to a World Series and winning a World Series championship. He leads the league offensively in 10 different categories. It could be the greatest offensive season we have ever seen, and I believe it is. Now, we had Josh Towers on the Sports Loudmouths, a friend of the show, ex-baseball player, knows the game very, very well, relief pitcher, played 8 years in the major leagues. He says Barry Bonds had the greatest season. Barry Bonds was also doing steroids illegally. What we have seen Aaron Judge do consistently all season long, he leads the league by 20 or more home runs. The next guy is Schwarber, who is 20 home runs under him. He is having a season we'll probably never see again. He has been fantastic this year. He is the MVP. I know a lot of people think Shohei Ohtani is not making the playoffs. It's impressive. There's nothing bad to say about this guy. He doesn't even talk about the records. Not selfish. And that's what you want to see. Derek Jeter wasn't selfish. I'm not a big Derek Jeter fan. He's a leader. And you lead by example. And that's what Aaron Judge does. And if the Yankees do bring Aaron Judge back, they absolutely should announce after they sign him that he is the new captain of this team. He is the face of baseball right now. This could be the first time the best player in baseball leaves the New York Yankees and goes to another team. Robinson Cano was a great player when he went to Seattle. He wasn't one of the top 5 players in the league.
Not overall player. He might have been the best second baseman, though, at the time.
He wasn't a top 5 player.
No, not overall.
And this guy is a top 3 player in the league and the best player in baseball right now. He is by far the best player in baseball right now. Yeah. It's not even close.
One of the more complete seasons you'll ever see, because you also have to factor in defense and 16 stolen bases as well. And again, you could argue about the era Judge Barry Bonds, who has the best offensive power season of all time. I've always said that steroids usually add probably 10 to 15 home runs a season. Factor in Barry Bonds' 73 home run season, that drops him down to maybe 63 at that point, which Aaron Judge could still catch at this point.
If Aaron Judge was on steroids, he'll have 75 home runs.
Obviously, but 63 is still attainable. And also in today's game, it's a lot harder to do that kind of thing. We don't even see a lot of 50 home runs. Also has 128 RBIs. It leads the league 11 more than the second highest, which is Jose Ramirez. Batting average will be the one to watch for the Triple Crown, because he's right now only 1/100th ahead of Xander Bogaerts. 3 100ths.
Who didn't play last night?
And 3 100ths to Luis Arias of the Twins, too, who they are facing a lot of easy pitching staffs coming up, too. So we'll have to see if Aaron Judge can hold that, because you got to keep in mind, too, he's going to be swinging for that home run record, too. That could cause him to strike out a lot.
Maybe he does what Jose Reyes did.
That's a whole other story.
I love throwing the Mets under the bus.
Which record are you going to go for? Because he's going for 2 of them at once at the same time. But this home run record in this era of baseball is very impressive.
As far as the Yankees are concerned, they're winning games when they're falling behind or they give up leads. What's to me alarming is their bullpen. I like what I see with Holmes coming in and playing 2 innings and showing that he can shut down left-handed, something that he has had problems with since the second half. So that is a good sign. The bad signs are this bullpen is still, we don't know where it is. And this rotation, Garrett Cole, and this is a guy that's making $38 million a year. It's alarming when this guy doesn't win a big game. He can't beat the Red Sox. He's had problems with the Red Sox. This is a Red Sox team that's 15 games behind you. They're not any good. And you're letting this Red Sox team hit against you. I don't know who their number 1 guy is. Of course, they're going to bet on Garrett Cole, but they bet on him the year before and the year before, and he has failed. I'm scared as a Yankee fan to trust Garrett Cole is going to pitch a big game against some of these better teams and better rotations. They're getting timely hitting. That's great. They're playing great defense. The Yankees are one of the top 3 defensive teams in baseball. You're going to need that going into the playoffs, especially against the Houston Astros. Even with the power that they have, they like to play small ball, steal bases, score runs, hit and run. So the Yankees are going to have to play that game if they expect to knock off the Houston Astros.
Yeah, definitely some question marks with that rotation and the bullpen coming into the postseason. Now you're looking at what role they're going to serve in the bullpen. Yes, they're getting Zach Britton, Aroldis Chapman too. He's coming back from an injury. A lot of new pieces to have to shuffle around. Now Wandy Peralta's hurt too, who's been the best lefty all year. And is he going to be ready for the postseason and come back the same? As far as the starters, yeah, there's really a lot of unknown, just either based on inexperience, which I've always said is not negative experience. Breakout players happen all the time in the postseason. That might benefit somebody like Cortez, Montez, who hasn't pitched well for the Yankees yet, but again, not really a guy that's pitched a lot in the playoffs. They're going to need something like that if Garrett Cole continues to have these late inning postseason blunders.
And then there's the Mets, who are right now ahead of the Braves. If you're a Met fan, you just hope they can hold on to that first place, because if they go into the wild card game, it doesn't bode well for them. I think they need that week off where they can get healthy, really give Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom some time to get their feet settled. So they need to figure out this lineup. Their bullpen stinks, but we knew that going into the playoffs, they're going to depend on their starting pitching. They have pitched better the last couple of weeks, the bullpen. I don't believe in this bullpen. I don't. And if you're a Met fan, you can't sell me and tell me that you believe that this bullpen is going to keep you into games if your rotation can't do it. So that would be a no, especially against the Braves and the Cardinals, teams that like to be gritty teams. What I do like, they're getting timely hitting at the end of the game. The grand slam by Lindor. Escobar hit a grand slam the other day. Are they going to be able to do it in the playoffs, Speedy? That's where the Mets are going to have to sell to the fans, because I don't know if they can. And they don't have these guys that really stand out. Oh, this guy's a good playoff player. That guy's a good player. Because half of these guys have never played in the playoffs.
Yeah, again, like I was saying with the Yankees pitching staff, inexperience. We'll see. Is it negative experience? We don't know yet. Lindor's had some bad playoff series. I think most of them against the Yankees too, but he's done well against other teams, so we'll see how that carries over. We haven't seen much with the rest of them, though. Marte's played in a couple, but Pirates, so barely any. And again, you're looking at a case where a lot of these homegrown guys were not on that 2015 roster, too. There's not many of them because the Mets made a lot of trades. They got a lot of free agents. Right now, they're creating runs in different ways. They've had injuries to Marte, and McNeil got hurt recently earlier this week. They left him in the game in left field, then re-injured something, so he hasn't been playing the last couple days. But still, you're looking at a case where they've still created runs at the top and at the bottom, too. Eduardo Escobar's had his best stretch of the season so far in the month of September, which is a good sign. Mark Canha's hit well. Pitching-wise, yes, they're going to be very old school, relying on the starters to go deep, and starters out of the bullpen, too, like you've seen teams like the Astros do in the past. The Cubs did it in their World Series one with Joe Madden, and they made it work. So Buck will have to evolve kind of into that mold because, yes, the bullpen's been inconsistent. Seth Lugo's been a little better in the second half of the season. Trevor May has been a little better since he's come back, too, but still, you're right, not trustworthy guys on a consistent basis.
Congratulations to the great Albert Pujols. A special feat by a guy that I think is the greatest right-handed power hitter we've ever seen. A guy that did it clean, stayed healthy at the end of his career. Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
For a guy that really fought injury when he was in the prime of his career. Really the face of baseball for many, many years. A guy that was quiet and did it on the field. Just special. 700 home runs. One of 4 players to ever do it. We talk about how great Miguel Cabrera is. This guy was even better. This is his last year. Did what he did in the home run derby. These youngsters don't realize how special this man has been, where he has taken the game of baseball for right-handed hitters. He will go down as the greatest right-handed hitter of this era, of all time. We talk about how great Vladimir Guerrero was when he played. 10 years from now, when we talk about right-handed hitters and what you want to be like and what type of player you want to mimic, this guy won batting championships. This guy won MVPs. This guy was a power hitter. This guy hit for average. The only thing he couldn't do was steal bases. Right. I mean, he was a great defensive player, too.
Yeah, in his prime, he was fantastic.
I mean, this guy is going to go down, is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Deserved. This guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. If there's a player that can win 100 votes, like Mariano Rivera, I think he can. Yeah. He's very loved, beloved by the press, by the players. Did it right. Every kind of way, and he was never caught doing anything cheating, doing anything off the field. He's a good family man, very special player. Proud to watch this guy develop as a player, as a youngster. all the way into the retirement of his career. Congratulations to one of the greatest players of this era, Albert Pujols.
Easily one of the best hitters of all time. Best hitter in this era, I think, when you talk about batting average, you talk about obviously now having 700 home runs, and a guy that really was consistent in his older ages. I know he had injury issues, and he had a couple bad seasons with the Angels, but that longevity is still impressive even to get to this point, too. He did well with the Dodgers when they traded for him in that playoff run. He's done it with many different teams now, well-loved by all these players, all these young players. They look up to him. He's an icon of the game, easily a first-ballot Hall of Famer that none of these baseball writers should ever be disrespecting for just the pure love of the game and the just great all-around game and influence he had on so many of these players, so many of these Caribbean-born players, too, that look up to a guy like Albert Pujols. 700 home runs is an incredible accomplishment, and gotta love to see him doing it in the place where he played for over a decade in the St. Louis Cardinals.
It's very impressive. Anybody to try to compare this type of player to any of the players that played in the league as long as they have. This guy has 21 home runs this year. He has 58 RBIs. This guy's 42 years old, and nobody would have thought that he was going to hit 20 home runs to break 700. No. He didn't even think that. And the fact that he did, that's amazing. Look at these numbers. When he was a rookie, his first year, 37 and 130. 34 and 127, 43 and 124, 46 and 123, 41 and 117, 49 and 137, 32 and 103, 37 and 116, 47 and 135, 42 and 118. Even in 2015, he had 40 and 95. If he stayed healthy the years that he wasn't, he would have hit consistently 35 and 100 and something. This guy is the greatest right-handed hitter we've ever seen. And that's not even the sell of it. He did it with average, too. He's a career 296 hitter. And this is a guy that his last couple of years, he couldn't stay healthy and he didn't have the great numbers. And this year, he hit 265. This is a 42-year-old player hitting 265. Some of the best hitters on some of these teams are not batting 265.
Big average is in high 230s.
Really fantastic story. One of the best players of this era.